Hey, what's up, everybody? In this video, we're gonna celebrate an early Christmas present. What did we get? Rip open the package, guys. We got a little a swamp creature has suffered a loss. Let's enjoy.
People have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And you know, I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show. My show had value, and that
I almost killed myself, Julie.
This race hustling grifter is a huge piece of trash. Do not fall for her little fake tears here. I mean, she's crying. She's crying for herself. She's not crying about any of the lies she told. She didn't lie. She's not crying about any of the nonsense that she's done over the last few years. We're gonna take a couple looks at some of the dumbest things she said, but this is a dumb lady. I'm gonna run that back one more time. Everyone, just savor the moment. Savor these tears. I'm gonna numb them up.
Little Zachy having a cheeky midnight snack. Who knows what num-nums he'll find in the refrigerator. Oh, I have to be very quiet with the door.
my show had value. My show had value, and that I'm sorry. That that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like me on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you. Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or
A child, a mom, or a dad killed by who? Who killed a child or a mom? Who's she talking about? Was it those white Christian nationalists that she hates so much? Is that who killed the babies? Are they little black babies? Is that what they do?
when we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted, and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life.
And this is exactly why she lost her job and has no viewers. No, she got as many viewers as me, and that's a damn shame because they pay her millions of dollars a year. Now she can't tell the truth. Who was targeting Asians? Joy Reid, did you talk about it? Did you talk about who was actually targeting the Asians whenever whenever that stuff was in the news? The little black babies that are getting killed. Who were you going after for that? You were going so hard, huh? And then the immigrants that came to this country just like your parents did. Did your parents come illegally and break into the country and commit crimes to get into the country? Is that how your parents came here? See, 'cause I doubt it. I don't believe you. I don't believe so. And if they did, they probably had some hardships and some things they had to deal with to go along with that. But you can't tell the truth, and you're not going to tell the truth. You're going to cry and pretend like this is wrong, but you're just an idiot, a race baiting, race hustling grifter. That's what you are. Now, I can make a super cut that could take a couple hours long of all the dumbest things Joy Reid has said on TV over the last few years, dating back to just when she was making appearances on panels and saying just the dumbest shit you ever heard in your life. We're going to take a look at right before the election, right before we voted, and then right after she found out that her side lost, like a demoralizing loss. Well, let's see what she says. Let's see how rational, reasonable, and realistic she is. This is her final plea to voters before we voted. Let's see how reasonable it is.
To begin our final sprint, having arrived at that point in the election season where basically we on this side of the TV screen have said all we can. We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also white-ruled South Africa before Mandela and the black majority took control, or Vladimir Putin's Russia, Viktor Orban's Hungary, or Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela today, that suppresses the rights of women and minorities, uses the military to execute the whims of a strongman dictator, and controls and suppresses the press, education, the arts, rewrites history to suit a favored and dominant racial class.
So a mainstream media outlet proposed to the voters on national TV, which they consider to be, a non-biased, bipartisan view of the reality and facts of what's going on in the world and of geopolitics. And she just told voters 24 hours before we went to vote that she's laid it all out and you have your choice. You can either choose Hitler, Mussolini, Saddam Hussein, or you choose their side, democracy, free press, no censorship, and just all the wonderful fluffy things. They have an act coming too. They have a new bill coming down the lines as well called the Everything You Ever Wanted Plus a Unicorn Act. And if you don't vote for it, you must not like unicorns very much or happiness, you bigot. What did she say after the election? So after she found out that Mussolini won, what did she say then?
And good evening, everyone. This is our first chance to be together one-on-one since the election. So I wanted to begin tonight with an acknowledgement of our new reality. Millions of Americans woke up Tuesday morning full of hope and joy, anticipating the election, finally, of America's first woman president. They put their faith in Vice President Kamala Harris to deliver not just the star-studded joy and the power of the culture from Beyonce to Taylor to basically every star in Hollywood, plus the many memes and incredible digital content, but also the change that could make this multicultural democracy real and accessible and affordable to everyone. I mean, money for elder care and small businesses and child tax credits, what? But that is obviously not what happened. Instead, knowing all that we know about Donald Trump, his vulgarity and venality, his 34 felony counts and adjudicated sexual abuse of E. Jean Carroll, and so many other women he preyed on, his buddy-buddy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, his theft of classified documents, his fealty to Vladimir Putin, and that attempted coup. Despite all of that,
Yes, despite all that, despite all those lies, all the lawfare, and everything that you tried to do to that man, we still voted for him. Let's revisit what you just said real quick, dummy. What the three things you said that Kamala offered: elder care, child tax credits, and money for small businesses. When were they going to articulate those plans and offer those as policy platforms? When were they going to really tell us? Let me guess. It's on her website. If you really care, you can go there and read it if you want. Well, I don't really care about you, Kamala Harris. So you need to tell me. You need to meet the voter where they're at, not just say, "Oh, it's online. Go look online." I don't remember hearing her say anything about elder care during her campaign. And I don't really remember too much about child tax credits because Trump's tax plan was so much better. That's all I can think about. And then small money for small businesses. You mean those grants that were gonna be extremely difficult to be eligible for, and we're probably gonna end up being racist in some weird, strange small business way? I don't really, again, because she did not explain it, I don't really remember her small business money plan. I remember it being not good and sounding like it was gonna cause a bunch of inflation, and causing a bunch of I remember the $20,000 or whatever it was for first time home buyers. It was all kind of convoluted and dumb, to be honest with you. It didn't really make too much sense to regular people that were listening to her trying to campaign. Well, she really didn't try to campaign. Let me stop rambling. Let's get to it. The vulgarity of Trump. Okay, we all talk like that, Joy. You could pretend like we all dab our mouths with napkins if you want, but we don't. Regular people don't act like that. His felonies, you mean the felonies that you applied to him? It's just a joke. E. Jean Carroll, a 50-year-old accusation come out of nowhere when you're trying to smear him so he can't run for president. Again, lawfare, you're playing against him. And then you said, quote, so many other women he preyed upon. What in the world are you talking about? What women did Donald Trump what so many other women he preyed upon? What are you talking about? His buddy relationship with Epstein. I believe there might be a single photo of Donald Trump with Epstein at Mar-a-Lago attached to a story in which Epstein was removed and banned from the club to never come back because of his treatment of waitstaff. But his buddy relationship, what are you talking about? Theft of classified documents? It's almost impossible for the president to still classify documents. The president himself decides whether something's classified or not. He can absolutely declassify things. I know there's a process for it, but it's just ridiculous. And he was complying with everything. You rated him again, lawfare and doing dumb things to make him look bad during an election. It was all election interference. And then his relationship with Putin. In what way? Trying to not have war is a relationship with someone. You sound dumb. And then the coup. And then he committed a coup. You mean by telling people not to be violent and be peaceful and just protest and then go home once it got out of control? What are you talking about? What coup? You mean whenever he transferred power peacefully? All right, I'm done destroying you. It's bad enough that's why you got fired. But me and my pajamas in the living room could tear you apart like this. This is disgusting. You're a dumb person and you should have never been on TV. But DEI, gonna DEI.
A majority of American voters actively chose him over her. Women all over this country know what it feels like to be the far more qualified woman who loses the job to mediocre or underqualified men. Black women doubly so. And people are rightfully depressed and scared. The Republican Party has made it clear they're not mad at the whole Nazi thing. They actually find some of the ideas, mass deportation, internment camps, white Christian nationalism, to be kind of okay. And autocracy definitely feels imminent. This era is especially frightening if you're a woman or black or gay or bi or trans or in an immigrant or in a mixed status family. And that danger is not in your head. And even in a normal time, when an election goes sideways, it is tempting to feel kind of dumb for having ever believed that the change you dreamed of was possible at all. I mean, who were we to believe that America would ever elect a woman, let alone a black and Asian woman as its president? I mean, sure, Mexico just did it, but not us. We're America. We don't do these things.
Now, I can see how Joy feels particularly dumb when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because listen to what she's saying. In a country where we idolize and elevate sports heroes, sports figures, actors, theater kids that grew up and got cool because they did a movie that made them look cool and was the hero one time, and we watched it and celebrated them as a fake hero in a fictional story, and they're just little nerd theater kids that get ultra wealthy because of that and live those lives. Those are the people we idolize. I mean, I don't, but society in general idolizes these people. What's the majority of the race of the NFL? What's the majority race in the NBA? What are just in general, it's going to be split like baseball, hockey. Of course, you got hockey where there's a lot of white athletes that we idolize, but in the end, and I'm using the word we a little loosely here. Ultimately, we already elected a black president for a double term 2 decades ago. What is she talking about? We don't do these things. We elevate we make The Rock the most, influential person in the world. We make Will Smith ultra wealthy. We make P. Diddy, for all the things he did, ultra wealthy. All these black people and all these minorities, gay people, all these different groups of people that you just listed that should be afraid and scared. Those are the same people that the people on the right idolize as well. Now it's a little bit different because we're not like total lunatics like you guys and have to lose myself and find myself in some hero the society holds up because you're so weak you need to validate yourself on a national stage in some weird comparison. I don't really get it. A lot of conservatives don't need that weird validation. Ultimately, what she's saying is retarded. That we absolutely will vote for the outcast. We will absolutely vote for the wrong thing. We will absolutely vote for what we're being told we shouldn't. That's what we do. That's the shit we do. Joy Reid, you dummy. But continue, tell us more about us.
And Kamala Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She ran a remarkable 107-day emergency campaign full of joy and hope. She and Tim Walz raised $1 billion in a couple of months, and she whipped Trump in their one and only debate. Also Latino men who, despite the utter disrespect shown by Trump and his promise to deport some of your mixed status families, most of them voted in a 55% majority to make the deportations happen. Y'all voted with Stephen Miller and David Duke and against your own sisters and chose Kamala Harris with 60% of their votes. So you own everything that happens to your mixed status families and to your wives, sisters, and abuelas from here on in. Because when an autocracy begins to form, it is really important that the press, to the extent it can, continue to speak, continue to inform people about what is happening, and to give you the means and the strategies to resist and survive. It is important that civil society and the arts continue to speak, that individual citizens remain vigilant and not back down or cower in fear. So that is what I and the team here at the Reid Out are going to do.
Wrong.
So to sum it all up, you're all racist bigots that would never vote for a black person, even though 2 decades ago you voted in a black man twice. On top of that, if you vote for deportations, then you deserve anything and everything that happens to your little babies and abuelas and all your family members. Only if they're illegal, of course. But she didn't make that qualifier. She meant no matter what. So if anything bad happens to your family, you voted for this and you deserve it. Even though most of the Hispanics are going to vote for the deportations because they painstakingly went through the process properly and don't want anyone else to skip the line. It makes total sense. That's why they vote for them. But, leave it to Joy Reid to call them dumb. Then she said that Kamala Harris ran a perfect campaign. That was perfect. That's her opinion, it was perfect. Guys, aren't you happy? Aren't you ashamed that you didn't vote for her? Didn't she tell you everything perfectly and do everything perfect? Not at all from the basement like Joe Biden, hiding and not talking to anyone and refusing press conferences and not having free flowing normal conversations like a human being. That's great. And in the end, what she's going to do is continue to lie until she loses her job. And that's pretty much what she did. And it's just, I'll leave you with this. The final thing, really, and hopefully this was the final nail in the coffin. Whenever she says it's her job to make you aware of what's going on in our world and in society. But you heard her say at the beginning, she's making you aware of the Asians that are coming under attack. Did she tell you who the Asians were being attacked by and who was preying on the Asians? Of course not. When she mentions she's standing up with Black Lives Matter for the tiny little itty bitty baby black babies that get killed all the time. And she's against this and against white nationalism. She's against all those things. But does she tell you who kills the little black babies in Chicago? Does she talk about that? Because it's her job to make you aware of what's going on so you can make good, educated decisions about the patterns that our society is seeing. Did she make it clear for you whenever she talked about the little itty bitty black babies that die? Did she tell you who to look out for that killed those little bitty babies and who the people are that attack Asian grandmothers in the street? Did she tell you who to look out for? Of course not. Do you know who to look out for with those kind of things? I don't know. Check the patterns. All right, I'll end it there. I'll see you guys on the next one. I just had to put this out there. You have to celebrate. I'm numbing it up. I hope you numb this as well. I'll see you soon. Press buttons. Do things for me. Dude, look at my subscriber count and press buttons. Stop it, please.